All right, welcome to the County Gamers, and it's going to be a loaded episode because let me try that first time in English. How about
Take two?
Take two. There is no takes in this podcast business. Nope. My name is Aaron.
My name is Chris.
You got Phil.
And Zoe.
And it's the first time we've ever had 4 people on this podcast here on the County Gamers. And today is an exciting day because not only do we have Chris, who is the original host, co-host of the show, but we have our new co-host back again. I didn't scare him off. He didn't run away. He didn't quit.
Howdy.
He didn't file any complaints with the non-existent HR department that we don't have. And he brought his fiance along with us and my coworker, Zoe. And she said she was okay with it. Either that or he paid her. I don't know which it was.
You'll never know.
We'll never know. It's a secret. So, the prompt for today, the get to know you question is, what is your favorite Triscuit wheat thin whatever flavor, or what would be your dream Triscuit wheat thin Cheez-It flavor? It's a tough question.
It is.
That's a hard question.
There's so many flavors.
Meanwhile, I'm spilling Dr. Pepper all over me, so I'm doing an amazing job. Mine, and I think they have it, but I don't know if they have this exact. So we have some Pepper Jack Cheez-Its that I picked up.
Oh, yeah.
I would want the Pepper Jack cheese flavor with like smoked Gouda mixed together as a flavor.
Oh, darn.
Because that's my favorite kind of like hamburger, is with like pepper jack cheese and then bacon and then the hamburger and then like the ketchup and that's the stuff. That is the stuff.
Goodness.
That'll make the world change. What do you think, Chris?
I would either want pizza flavored or sub flavored.
Pizza.
Sub.
Yes.
Pizza flavored?
Just
Pizza
like
for real.
Yeah.
Pizza flavored, yeah.
Pizza's the
Why
best.
pizza? Is that just your like...
Pizza's the bomb.
I
Pizza.
wasn't questioning the validity of pizza. Hear me clearly on that. I fully endorse pizza. This is a pizza loving podcast for sure.
I don't know. It's all the flavors. I think it's the cheese. It's the because if you could get the right type of crust, like a garlicky type of, my goodness gracious alive, that would be good.
Slap your grandma, shut the front
Slap her
door,
upside the head.
dig grandpa up,
Right.
reanimate him like Frankenstein, the whole thing. Franklin Delano, whatever.
Oh yeah.
That whole string of, whatever. Okay, so Zoe.
So I really like the snapped
Ooh,
cheese.
yeah. Okay.
And now you gave me an idea, like pizza snapped. That
Okay.
would be like amazing.
Yeah, that'd be
That
great.
would
Yes.
be good.
I think so. Pete, we're picking up on a theme here. It's very much of a pizza situation. All right, Phil, either keep us on the pizza train or derail us somewhere else.
Is this because I brought pepperonis? Like,
Probably.
Yes, you have influenced
but
the decision.
I think I would like a Doritos Extra Cool Ranch.
Ooh,
Back in the day, they had like the Extra Cool Ranch with like the extra
Yeah,
seasoning.
those are good.
Put that on a Cheez-It.
Okay, so we're all local here.
That's interesting.
There's a restaurant called Ben's Brick Oven Pizza down in Hudson, and they make a taco pizza with Doritos on top of it,
Oh, okay.
crunched and sprinkled.
Let's
All
go.
right.
It
yeah.
is.
We're
It's
going.
like the taco meat and the taco cheese and it is. It is the only thing I'll get. Like the menu's amazing, but the taco pizza that's something you guys before you, I don't know. Not that you're going to die anytime soon, but
I hope not.
before you do the next thing, before winter takes over and I-76 becomes an ice rink, go down to Ben's Brick Oven Pizza. They are not sponsoring us.
It's
All
divine.
It's really good. I do it whenever I'm hungry and I'm driving down there, or even if I'm not hungry, I will just go in and get it and then like save it for the next day because it's just that good. All right. Well, now that you're hungry and you've listened to us talk about food for the last 5 minutes, we're gonna move on into the next topic of the next part of this podcast, which is the gaming part of our podcast. But we're gonna be talking about top 10, or in my case, top 30. It was 42 in my defense. I've pared it down, and there's still more paring down to come. So we're going to do that when we come back after the intro music. We're going to talk to Zoe and get to know her because as I have come to know, she is a gamer. She's not an old school gamer. She's a new gamer. She's a baby gamer, and so we're excited to hear her story. Coming up next on the County Gamers. Stick with us and don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. That's go. I'm gonna get go. All right, in 5, 4, 3. All right, welcome back to the County Gamers. My name's Aaron.
My name is Chris.
And Phil.
And Zoe.
So Chris does this every so often where he tries to be like Batman. There was an episode.
I am Batman.
Oh, so many questions and so many things to be said right now, but none of them would pass the censors. So on an episode, I was really sick, and I when I get sick, I sound really.
Oh, yes,
and
he does.
I can
Yeah.
I can do I'm Batman and sound pretty convincing. Even not sick, I can do a pretty good job.
Yep.
And so ever since that episode where he did sound like Batman when he was not well, he has now every episode or two been like, I'm Batman. I'm like, Chris, you're not Batman.
I'm not Batman.
No.
You could be.
I
I
want to
get-
be Batman.
I'm going to get a squirt bottle. And every time you do, I'm just going to spray it at you.
It'd be nice to be Bruce Wayne, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With all that money and all those cars and that crazy weird house. All right, so you're the first topic of the program at the top of the list. When did you become a gamer? How did you become a gamer? What was your introduction to the gaming world?
So, I'm a 90s kid, but I did not play the Game Boy or any of those things.
What?
I know.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't really get into gaming until my freshman year of college, probably about 2011.
Okay.
I was dating someone at the time that was really into games, and my first game I ever played was Skyrim. And
Really?
Holy
yes,
crap.
That's an okay.
That's a great introduction.
That's a really good game.
I was gonna say that's one of the if there's ever an origin story for a gamer, that's the perfect start.
yes, I was sucked in immediately.
And
It sets the bar high, though.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. What do you after that, where do you go?
It does.
You go from Skyrim to Fallout 76, and you're like, what is this junk? What happened? What have you done to me, gaming gods? Okay, so Skyrim.
Yes.
And what was your favorite part of Skyrim? What was it like of all the missions, of all the things you could do in Skyrim?
Becoming a werewolf.
Becoming a werewolf. See, I hated that.
I loved it. I did it every time.
What is it about becoming a werewolf that was just so much fun?
I don't know. Well, since it was my first game, I was like, oh, wow, I can use magic.
Yeah.
I can do all these cool I can become a vampire.
Yeah.
Like what?
Twilight just came out around that time.
Yes.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was a big Twilight fan, so
Okay.
definitely
Oh,
into all that.
that's
Yes.
Nice.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, that's okay. So Twilight, so the vampire and the werewolves. So I love the vampire companion. I think her name was Serena or Serana. I can't remember. I'm looking at Phil as
Something like that, yeah.
as if he hopefully he remembers. But she was so cool because she was so like she couldn't die,
Right.
because she was mission centric for a lot. So if you picked her up as her mission began, and then you just went off and did everything else away from her vampire mission, she couldn't die.
Right.
So she was the most indestructible companion ever.
It was great.
And her banter with you, she was really cool. Like she would also complain about, oh, we're out in the sun again, man. I hate this. And you're just like, suck it up, Serrano. We gotta move. We gotta keep going. You're my companion now. Okay. So what happened after Skyrim? What was next?
Fallout 3.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
actually not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it was great. I really like what did you call it? It's like the
The VAT system.
Yeah,
oh,
the
VAT
VAT system.
Yeah.
Especially for a new gamer, I wasn't really good at aiming, so it was great. So I could just pick where I wanted to hit them, and it was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fallout 3, I think it was a solid game. It's
Yeah.
not on my list, mind you, but it was a really good entry into the series. So from Fallout 3, where'd you go from there?
What was the next one? Honestly, probably COD Zombies, and that was when I got with Phil.
Explain to those of us who may not know what that is.
So Call of Duty Zombies, and I've literally played all of them from Black Ops 3 all the way up to World War II. I haven't really done the newer ones. I don't know. It was just so fun. Especially World War II. I could literally get up to level 40 by myself, just stayed in one place, kind of doing a circle.
Nice.
Just have the zombies follow me and kill them all.
Yeah, she actually completed the Easter egg for that, which is like, in Call of Duty Zombies, that's what's considered like the main quest.
Yeah.
And they're so
It
like
is.
obscure and stuff. And
Yep.
she actually completed that one on World
Whoa.
War II on the first map. I have not done that. She
impressive.
actually
I was
found
lucky.
she actually found a good group of people online, and they did it. And
Wow,
I-
you
I
got
was
really
like,
lucky.
okay.
Yeah, so I knew like the first half of the Easter egg, so we got to that point, and then they
Yeah.
took me the rest of the way, and
Wow.
we did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So last week we talked about how finding community on the online world,
Yep.
especially in the Call of Duty world,
Definitely.
it's a real roll of the dice. You run the risk of running into some really toxic, unpleasant, unhealthy people.
Oh, the trolls.
Oh, the trolls! They are the bane of the online existence. But you found a group that was actually not that terrible and was encouraging and
Yeah, and
helpful.
we worked together
That's
and
amazing.
made it happen. Yeah.
Do you play multiplayer games still, or do you not gotten back into it?
They're not my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm into Fortnite, but I usually play solo or with duos with my sister-in-law.
Okay.
So no, too many players I do not like.
Yeah, it's the griefing and a lot of that stuff. And I have intentionally stayed away. I haven't been. I played Fortnite when it was like COVID, and because I taught sixth grade at that point, and so we had a lot of opportunity to get online with kids and go and play games with them and stuff like that. And so I played Fortnite a little bit. Unfortunately, I could never get into it. It just was like, what is the point of all this? And I'm not a multiplayer guy. I tried to reform myself to be like, I can do this. I can multiplay. No.
I can't. No.
Yeah, no, I can't. Okay, so do you still play Fortnite though?
I do.
That's amazing.
Religiously.
Okay, religiously. It's like you're Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like her and my sister's thing
Okay.
to play together.
That's how we get
Oh,
to
yeah.
connect. And
Because
yeah.
my sister lives back in North Carolina, so we
Okay,
don't get to
yeah.
see her or talk much, and that's like their way of doing it.
Well, and I think that's interesting because a lot of what the original intent and the original, because Chris and I are obviously older than both of you, not combined, thank goodness,
much
we're not that old yet. But the point is that was we're going to be old someday soon, Chris.
Yeah,
Just
we
accept
will.
it. It's going to happen.
I'm already old.
Getting our walkers ready. So that was what I and Chris experienced in the early days of online multiplayer was the community, connecting with people and genuinely having a good time, finding those dungeons or whatever you found and being able to work together and do that. And then it went toxic and it's never gotten any better.
I don't like the toxicity at all.
Yeah.
No.
Well, because Phil was saying you just turn your mic off. You don't even engage.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't when we play online games together. It's just me and her, and we shut out everyone else and we just do our own thing.
I can see that. Yeah.
Probably good call. All right. Anything else in your gaming history you want to tell us about? Any guilty pleasure games that you're kind of like ashamed to admit that you play? You're laughing, so I'm thinking there's at least one.
So I've been starting to play Dead by Daylight.
Really?
That's a pretty good game, though.
It is really good. I really like
good.
horror games. But here, the players are even more toxic on there, but you can't hear them. The things that they do are toxic.
Oh, okay.
So they'll make you chase them in a circle for like 10 minutes, and then you're not focusing on the other players, and they get away. And
Right.
Oh, it just makes me so mad because I can't focus on all four at the same time. I have to pick one.
Right. Dude, what is it you like about Dead by Daylight? Is it just because it's a horror kind of scary game?
Yeah, and I've been playing as Michael Myers and like really leveling him up.
Okay.
He's really cool because you have to have like a certain amount of evil before you get to the next thing.
Okay,
gotta do,
gotcha.
so.
Okay, well that's fair. You've had it's interesting because each of us separately and together have talked about our gaming story, and yours is unique because you're still new relatively.
Yeah.
When you compare history of gaming, you're still in that kind of that baby teenage years because Skyrim came out 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
I think it was.
It's
like
been a long
15.
time.
It's been a long
Yeah.
time.
It's been released on everything, including the refrigerators. So that's that's the
Multiple
ongoing.
times.
Yeah, multiple times. I think they released it on Switch as well, and that was hilarious.
I would not want to play it on Switch, and I love the Switch, but no.
no Skyrim. So that's the cool thing is that you're in that you have been at least a part of some really great games in your gaming history. So you haven't been fed a pile of junk all the time, and that's just what you know. You've played legendarily amazing games, so at least you have that in your history and stuff like that. All right, well, today is the day where we're going to take on the task of attempting to do our top. And I said top 10, and that was a mistake because as soon as I started listing them out, as I said in the opening, I had 42.
Yeah.
I have pared them down. I'm down to like maybe the upper 30s, but even then, I'm still working through this list with my head, going, nope, maybe not. I don't know about that. So, before we do that, actually, let's do a brief Skyrim check-in. Because
Skyrim?
Yeah, no, sorry, Skyrim. Good Lord, Starfield. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
was
Phil,
like,
for giving-
Skyrim.
I mean, we
Let's
can talk about
go.
Skyrim.
I'm going back to the golden age of Bethesda, which was so far long ago.
Yeah.
So you've not played anymore. You just
I've taken a little break
Yeah.
from it, but that's mostly because I have HTML class finals.
Oh, okay.
And it's like my brain's so focused on that, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to like also have to focus on like a heavy story.
yeah.
So I'm playing more like arcade style games.
Okay.
Just
There you go.
just for the
Yeah.
time being.
Yeah.
So
Light work, kind of
Yeah.
keeping your brain distracted
Yeah.
every so often. Yeah, because you're right. Starfield and games like it are very much involved.
time
Well,
time consuming.
Well, and the way you play it, you talk about how you do everything.
Yeah.
You go to every corner of every place. You're opening every package or every
Yeah.
box, and that is again that's
I'm running through everyone's house.
right.
Like, what you got in here?
It's a good thing they make games like this so that you wouldn't have to do that in your real life, because then, well, you would
That's
be in
a
jail.
crime.
That's a crime. That's illegal. We do not support that here on Accounting Gamers. So let's just make that abundantly clear if anyone's thinking about taking up a life of Starfield crime in their real life. So you haven't played it, Chris. You've played a little more.
Yeah, I played some today.
So talk to me, because when we checked in, you had played like 15 minutes and you were not happy.
Not really, no.
So where are you at now?
I'm mildly, hesitantly optimistic.
Hey, there we go.
That is-
that's
that is-
progress.
That is,
Yeah.
that,
That's progress.
Yes, it is.
with a Bethesda game like Starfield, yeah. So why have you become all those things?
Well, because so when I first started the game, I liked it till I got into space,
Right.
and I was like, dude, No Man's Sky is 10 times better than this.
Yeah.
Like 10 times better. But after playing it a little bit, it's improved,
Mm-hmm.
but not much.
Yeah.
I still think it's a sucky game. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
Space flight itself in that game is not. It's not what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Like you
not.
said, No Man's Sky is better on that aspect.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's much better.
Well, and it's like, so I've played a lot more, and I'm far along in a game. So spoiler alert if you care. If you don't, I'm just going to talk about it. But if you're listening, spoiler alert for No Man's Sky. I'm just going to talk about openly. But to your point, what you just mentioned, there is, when you fly into space. There's some things to do where you are, right? You can do some things in the planet. You can scan. You can
Yep.
search around, but there's not a lot to do. And when you compare it, again, I know people are out there are like, well, you shouldn't compare it to No Man's Sky. And I'm like, here's the deal: No Man's Sky has been around longer and has had more work done on it. And Starfield's been watching that and whatever. Anyway, the comparison to Starfield is accurate because the technology and the game mechanics that they put into that game are not impossible. Flying into space, if you compare No Man's Sky to Starfield, it is you can take off on your own, and you can fly out of the planet
Through the atmosphere.
on your own through
Yep.
the atmosphere, and wherever you come out is exactly where you would have come out. Like it's all like it comes out where you're supposed to come out. Like you come out in space and you're in that part of space. In Starfield, you just come out wherever you are, and sometimes it's mission centric. Like if you're supposed to get out of the planet and someone's supposed to harass you,
Yep.
you end up right in that place.
They Star Trek it.
They Star Trek. Yeah, you warp
beam me
speed.
out.
You beam me out, and there you are. And the music attempts to make it feel like epic when you get out into space.
He's like, no.
Well, here's something that I just thought about is that I have become annoyed at the default Starfield orchestral sound. It's like
Yeah.
that. It sounds a little like Fallout, to be
Yeah.
honest, and it really annoys me because it's very similar,
annoying.
and I don't know how to really say that outside of like it just feels like they took the Fallout theme and just kind of they didn't really do anything creative with it. But it starts to feel annoying. Like this is not. I'm not feeling this sense of overwhelming amazement at what you're trying to get me to feel.
Yeah.
Just because you play the musical cue does not mean that it exists.
Yeah, I think that's just a Bethesda thing.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the only Bethesda game with a great soundtrack would be Skyrim.
Sky.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I
that when
agree.
that intro theme came
Mm-hmm.
on, you knew you were going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Well, and you
That
had
was a
the
great
Dragonborn theme, the dun 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, and it's just like that is so powerful. I feel like maybe with its music, Skyrim earns its majesty.
It does.
It earns it. It pays for it. It cashes the check. It gives you what you were expecting with the music. Like if the music ramps up, you're coming under attack. Oh my gosh, we have a gargantuan giant to fight. Okay, let's go. And the music, and you're excited and you're interested. With Starfield, it's like, okay, cool. I just warped into a new system. Woo! You don't need to play my music.
Loading screen.
Ah, yes. What's interesting about this, though? Yeah. So here's the other problem.
Yep.
is that Skyrim had its share of loading screens, right?
Yeah.
But they were limited to the town and to individual buildings.
Yep.
But you could walk from one town to another and not have to do a loading screen.
Right.
Yep.
And so the danger in that is that and even with like oh gosh, the name just escaped my mind. With Fallout, there it is. With Fallout, you could explore the waste. You could go from one place to another, and there wasn't a loading screen. And obviously, when you went into encampments or you went into buildings, that happened. But with Starfield, you're right. It's a lot of loading screens.
Yeah.
And it breaks up the action.
I actually didn't notice it at first, and then somebody I think Zoe said you pointed it out.
Yeah.
And then like as soon as she told me that, I'd noticed the loading screens.
Yeah.
And it's like literally like walk into a room, loading
Yep.
screen.
Yep.
You know, just everything has a loading
Yep.
screen.
It doesn't feel like it's necessary. And
Yeah.
because we've seen games do it without having to have a loading screen.
Yep.
And again, it's Bethesda being Bethesda. The other thing I'm going to tell you, and again, spoiler alert, if you're listening, you don't want to know, skip ahead until you hear me talking about something other than Starfield. The story is interesting.
Yeah.
It is.
It gets even more interesting because there's a key, like the artifacts are tied to something, and the idea is that there's a guy that shows up. He's called like the Sky something or another. He's like a mysterious being, and you come to find out that he's from another universe, but they've been doing this thing where they've been tracking it, and everybody involved is always ends up having a different part of the story, and somebody dies, and they end up fighting each other for it, and it's just been they're from all different universes and then whatever. Anyway, and it's interesting. I'm like, okay, cool. So that part of the story is great. However, there's a storyline, and I talked about this with Phil last week, is you get taken aboard like the military ship, and you're told you're under arrest, and you have to do something for them. And it's like you have to sneak into the syndicate, whatever, the pirates, and you have to then find out what their plans are and keep reporting back and forth to the guys. It's presented in a way that it's so linear that you can't not report back to your handlers. So you're recruited by the government to report on these pirates who are looking for their big score that got lost by their old leader who vanished into somewhere. And so they're like, you have to go stop them or find out what they're doing. And so you do all these things, and it just becomes repetitive because you have to go get this one MacGuffin, and you get the MacGuffin. It's like, oh, well, we need another MacGuffin, and you have to go do this then. And you try and not kill people, but at a certain point in like the later part of this experience, you have to kill people. But you are given the choice up until that moment to find a way to not kill them, but it becomes harder and harder. And then so when you finally you kill some guys and get the thing, and you get back wherever you're going, and you get back to the spaceship with the military guys, they're like, how dare you? You kill people. We should pull you off this mission right now. And it's like this sudden escalation where they've been friendly with you for the most part because you haven't killed anybody. But now all of a sudden it's like, well, you killed somebody. What have you done? How dare you? And it's like,
What was I supposed to do?
what was I supposed to do? And that's what I said. I was like, oh, I had no choice. And he's like, well, it's still stupid. And so at that moment, I'm just like, what is the point of this?
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to choose. You go back and you choose whether or not to save the pirates and give them their money, or to return the money over to the military. Either way, someone's going to die. If you give the money to the military, they're going to kill the pirates and they're going to wipe them out of existence. If you give the money to the pirates, then you're going to have to attack the military and have a dogfight and then go on board and kill the commander or whatever. What it doesn't do is it doesn't allow you to, at a certain point, just say, I'm not going back and reporting to them what's going on. I'm just going off on my own. I'm going to go with these pirates, and I'm not going to report back to the vigilance. I'm not going to report back to the admiral. I'm doing it on my own.
Right. Yeah.
That's powerful choice, because then they might have to try and find you. Now there's some impetuous. We got a recruit who's on the loose. He's gone wild. We don't know where he's at. You're not given that choice. It's linear. It's very much like, okay, you go and you get this MacGuffin, then you report back to the vigilance. Okay, then you go back to the pirates and you tell them all about what the thing you stole, and then they install it, and then you got to go back to the vigilance, and it just becomes this like back and forth like tennis match of like, this is boring. Boom, 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 and there's that glut of just, what am I doing? Like,
What is this for?
What is this for? Like, is this it feels like there's certain parts of this game where there is story padding. And it frustrates the heck out of me because it's not good story.
And it's Is this a main quest?
It's
thing?
no, it's a secondary.
It's a side quest.
Secondaries, it's like, well, I don't even want to call it a side quest. So what you do is you go to the security office on Jameson at New Atlantis, or New Atlantic, or whatever the heck they call it, and you talk to the security officer because one of the missions has you going to go talk to a prisoner there. So I was like, oh, well, I don't want to go into the secure area and get in trouble. I'll go talk to the guy at the desk, and I'll ask to meet with that person. I don't even get a chance to ask that question. They're like, you're coming with us.
What?
You're under arrest. And I'm like,
I want to run.
Excuse me.
And I wanted to, but I was just like, well, then I'm going to have to like get myself a bounty removed off my head. I'm going to be in trouble. So I felt like I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, that's my kind of
That's more like it.
Yeah.
Like I said last week, I took my choice and made it myself. I reloaded my game.
You reloaded your save and just avoided it. If I had thought about that, I would have just been like, I don't want to be a part of this. But what it does is it puts you in this like 10 to 15 minute like story cycle where you have to talk to this guy, get the information, be briefed, do all this other stuff, and it's so much story glut that it's like, I don't want to be here. Get me back into the space. Get me out of this. I want to go fly. I want to go explore. I want to go do.
Yep.
But it's this weird thing, and it becomes tiresome because you have to go get something. But here's the other thing. Okay, then we're going to go to our list. But you end up having to do, like, you're like, okay, well, you have to get this. And so when you go to get that, then you go, hey, I need this. And like, oh, well, I need you to do something for me. And there's so much of
That's
that.
not how it works.
Yeah, and it's like
I don't like that.
It's so frustrating because you end up being like having all, like, that's what I was talking about, mission glut. Like you end up having to do like 3 or 4 things in addition to what you were sent there to do to get what you want.
I'm out.
And I'm like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
and it wasn't, but it wasn't. There wasn't. It was interesting, but it wasn't fun. Because I knew that I was being put through the paces. This wasn't like we're gonna go take over a cruise ship in the sky and do something. No, it was like, okay, I gotta go get this, then I gotta go pay this guy off, then I gotta go persuade them to do this, then I gotta go do this. It wasn't like, I'm gonna go, let's do this. It's like
Adulting.
that's
what it sounds like.
It is
Adulting.
absolutely.
I don't want
it is
adulting in my video games.
Yeah.
No, that's not what we want.
No.
It's errands. It's like running errands. Like, okay, I got to go to Walmart and I got to go get this. Oh man, I just remembered I have to go get this. Then you got to go halfway across the store, and then you get halfway across the store, you get that one thing, and you go, oh man, or your fiance or husband or person texts you and says, hey, get this, and you're like, the other side of the store. Here I go to the other side of the store. And so it's that moment of just like, why am I playing this? Why do I keep doing this? And so there's a lot of side missions that I've thought about. But this stuff has turned me off to the game so much that I'm just like, even though I paid for it, and I've told Chris this the episode we recorded about it, I am almost just like, I don't want to play it.
Yeah.
I don't want
Give me my money back.
and it's too late now, obviously, because I've played it for like 20 hours. But it's frustrating because this was Bethesda's big game. This was the big, we're doing it right. It just works, says Todd Howard, whatever. And it doesn't.
That would be disappointing.
And the only thing that this game does that No Man's Sky doesn't do is shipbuilding. But even when I try and build my ships, I can't figure out how to do it right. And I know I just need to take my time, but it's sort of not intuitive altogether sometimes. And so I'm like, I can't create my cool ship because I don't know how to make it.
I think the controls are goofy too.
They're a little.
Yeah, I don't like the controls.
A lot of feelings. So overall, I think I'm at that point because I loaded up Baldur's Gate 3 yesterday, or today at some point, and I was like, I miss this game. I want to play this game.
You went back to Baldur's Gate.
I went to Baldur's Gate 3. I'll talk about Cyberpunk 2077 here towards the end because we need to get to our list. Because if I keep talking, nobody else is. So we're going to take I don't often do this, but I'm going to hit a mark here. We're going to take a short musical break for our audience to reset their brains. When we come back, prepare yourself for the best games of all time.
In our opinion.
In our opinion.
Don't come after us, please.
Please.
You're welcome.
Emails come to me, and I'll tell you to deal with it and get over yourself. When we come back, top games of all time from 4 people who sort of know what they're talking about here on the Can of Gamers. Bounty Gamers. My name is Aaron.
My name is Chris.
My name's Phil.
And I'm Zoe.
And it's time for the top 10, top 20, top 30, top 100. However many we've got. Lists of all time. This is from the beginning of our gaming life to the continuing adventures that we have today. So this could be a deep cut, and I have not seen any of these lists. I have only composed my list, so I'm going to hold on mine. I'm going to make sure that I have something to cross off if somebody mentions one that I have.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That is
Yeah.
a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Suddenly, everyone has a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So here's a pencil for you two, and then I'll get...
Well, I put mine on my phone, so we're just
Yeah.
going to go for it.
Holy moly, what's going on here?
I was going to trip and die on the air.
This is the content you get
I'll
at the
kick you,
County
Aaron.
Gamers.
This is real life.
Thanks, Chris. That sounded a lot like the moment from like Titanic where Jack's like, "I'll catch you, Rose. My heart will go on." Celine Dion, coming soon to the podcast.
Oh, no.
Yes.
We don't discriminate against Canadians here. We love everybody, even the Canadians, with their mooses and their loons. All right, so
And maple syrup.
good old maple
That's
syrup.
some good stuff, though.
Yeah.
At one point, I think I can't remember who it was, we joked about a maple syrup mafia. What's hilarious is there actually was. There was a
Yeah.
pipeline
There
of
is.
maple syrup
Yep.
being run across the border at one point
There is.
a couple of years back. So there you go. There's a mafia that you can join
Fun facts.
if you really get bored with life. It's quite sticky, though, I'm told. Just kidding. that was a terrible
You
pun.
did
Aaron.
not.
That's
You did not.
It's a terrible pun.
You better not cut that out.
I'm so sorry. I'm not even sorry, actually. I'm not sorry. Okay, let's get back to the list. All right, so who should we start with? I think we should start with our baby gamer, Zoe. What is that your top? I guess because I mean, if you want to say what your top number one is, awesome. But if you don't feel, if you're just like, hey, this is my top 5, this is my top 10.
Well, we've already talked about some of mine, but something that I've started up again is Five Nights at Freddy's because,
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
yeah, so there's be a movie out in October. So I was like, I got to get back in the groove. So I downloaded it on my phone, Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Okay.
I am stuck on night 4, and it is killing me. I literally get to 5 a.m., which is only 1 hour
to go,
left,
yeah.
and I die.
So what is it about Five Nights at Freddy's? Because I can't play that game. It scares the life out of me, and I only got one life to live, so I got to keep that life with me.
Right. So Phil was like, here, like no background, no
Oh,
anything.
okay.
Play this.
Oh,
Check this out.
Okay.
Oh, good.
And literally, you only get a couple tips from the little recording at
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
beginning.
And
So
then
I'm
you're
like,
off and running.
okay. Immediately jump scared, died. But then I wanted to take on that challenge and become better.
okay.
And then I did beat the first and the second. And then there's also this customize
Oh,
where you get to kind of pick the different animatronics that you want.
okay.
So you can make it really easy, really hard.
Okay.
And that's how I kind of got better and better because I just made it as hard as possible.
Okay. Okay.
And learned how to play.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Five Nights at Freddy's, and it's also, there's a huge youth subculture
Oh, yes.
that's into this game. There are books. There
Yeah.
is all kinds of media that's been
insane.
produced within the Five Nights at Freddy's genre of gaming, and it's really interesting. That gives me I get a kick out of the fact that that's on your top 10
And
or top
entire YouTube channels
Yeah, oh,
got,
yeah.
got
Yeah,
their
Yeah.
start from
Yeah.
that game.
Yeah, it's true.
it's similar to the what is it, the Halo Red or
Red versus Blue.
yeah, Red versus Blue. That was back in the
Halo
day.
Rooster Teeth.
Oh, that
Man, I
was
love Halo.
such a retro cut.
What is that? It looks like a puma. It's a warthog.
For those of you who are wondering what we're talking about, just go onto YouTube and do Red versus Blue, Halo. That's where a lot of gaming culture started,
Yeah.
like YouTube gaming culture. And it's also just pretty normal that now in this day and age, any new game that is attractive to the young folks picks up on that and ends up on YouTube. All right, so that's your number in your top 10. Phil, what's in your top 10? What's one from your top 10?
Oh, just one from?
Or
okay.
just two, or I don't know.
Let's see. Let me pull up my list here.
Okay, get the list out.
I'm gonna start at the bottom of my list.
Oh.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
That's the one I missed on my list. Dang it.
Black Flag.
Oh,
It's the best one in my opinion.
Okay, so walk us through why it's so good.
You're a pirate, and you are actually a pirate.
Right.
The first time that I got to control my own ship
Yeah.
and get into a naval battle,
Yeah.
I was like, I've never experienced it. What is this? And
Right.
then like you got whales jumping out of the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
And like your crew is like singing shanties
Yeah.
and they get stuck in your head, so you're singing shanties too, and it's
That was
incredible.
cool.
I love that game, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
It is.
The tropical setting is.
They really.
I want to
their
live
work in.
there. You know.
And so what's interesting is, so Assassin's Creed, and so that's of all the Assassin's Creed games, there it is, that I've ever played. Black Flag is one that I go back to consistently.
Yeah.
That and Odyssey. Odyssey is one of those that's just, it has a special place in my heart.
That's the Greek one.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah, I like
And-
that one too.
But you know why? I think it's so cool is because they took the Black Flag pieces of the ship, and you end up with that
Yeah.
on your ship crew. They'll sing shanties.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not shanties, but they're songs from that era. And you do travel around on your ship, and you do get in naval battles, and they're really cool, and you can upgrade your ship. And so, yeah, Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, and Odyssey are two of my favorites because it feeds everything you want. Like, you love it. You love exploring. And Odyssey is cool because it explores all the myths and the legends, the lost city of Atlantis. And so you interact with a lot of classical figures of history, but also the imaginative elements. And it's a kick in the pants. The rest of Assassin's Creed can take a flying leap for all I care. Ha, no pun intended. Didn't actually mean that one. But yeah, Black Flag is pretty good.
Jeez.
I'm on fire today.
You are.
Let's go. All right, Chris, what is one of your top list? One or two or three, or however you want to go.
So, Team Fortress 2
Oh, jeez.
is
Okay.
one of my absolute favorite games. I have played over 2,000 hours on that game.
Wow.
Okay, that's a long time.
Okay, so there's a story
Okay.
that I have to tell it.
It's time for story time with Chris.
It's story time. So the story goes is that I was playing it. I stayed up 12 full hours and played that game. I could not stop.
Oh my.
My wife walks in and looks at me and says, "If you don't stop, I'm going to leave you right now."
Oh man.
So now, but there was more to it than that. There's more to. I played a lot more before that.
Okay,
though.
okay. So it kind of the straw that broke the camel's back was,
Yeah.
dearest honey of mine,
Like-
12 hours.
Baby, I love you, but you need to stop.
Right.
It's a problem at
It
this
is.
point.
Oh, it was a problem. It was. So that I think Team Fortress is the game I've played more than any others. Zelda. My goodness.
Any variation on the Zelda game.
Ooh, which one?
The very first one.
very-
on
okay.
Nintendo.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love that game.
I played it on Game Boy, I think, is what was
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
versions.
Yep.
And there's something about the Zelda mythos
Yeah.
that it's just the music, the game design.
Epic, man.
It's just it inspires you to just
Yeah.
play and imagine and get involved. I was looking for N64 games on my list, and I remember playing Zelda-ish back in the day on the 64. It didn't go on my list because I didn't play it enough. But every single Zelda game, for the most part, including the recent stuff, like the
Yeah.
Zelda Ocarina of Time and the
Yeah.
sequel, has just continued to blow people's minds and just do incredible
Yeah.
things.
Sitting.
Tears of the Kingdom's out
Tears
now.
of the
Yeah.
Kingdom. Yeah.
I've heard incredible
oh my
things about that.
goodness.
All right, Zoe, back to your list. What's next?
Another one I've been playing recently is the new Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
How have you been playing that one?
I have been playing it on the Switch
Gee.
because the
Poor,
Switch is
poor.
my baby. Yeah, the graphics aren't the best. The loading screens take forever. But once you actually get in there, it is epic. I usually do not play the original characters.
Okay.
I'm used to Mortal Kombat like 10 where I can have Jason or
Yeah.
all those cool
yeah.
people. So I've really been getting into Katana.
Okay.
And I've been doing kind of like the arcade version of going up the towers
Okay.
and increasing my level. So I have gotten up to medium.
Ooh.
Pretty proud of myself because
Okay.
normally I would not get that far. So yeah, Mortal Kombat, it's been pretty awesome.
Well, Mortal Kombat has a history. Like
Yes.
it is one of the few titles
Yeah.
that has maintained presence in the gaming world. And there's been some hits and misses over the years. My introduction to Mortal Kombat was in the arcades, like going to an
Yeah.
arcade and playing with the arcades. And is it Mortal Kombat? Is it Mortal Kombat's the finish him thing? Is that finish him?
Yes.
Fatality.
Yeah.
Brutality.
Yeah.
Like I remember that part because I would always be on the receiving end of that because I was never good enough. I'm not a competitive person by any nature, and so I would often get fatality, and I'd be like, I hate this game.
Well, that game, Mortal Kombat and Night Trap, is what spawned the rating system.
Oh, really?
That's why games are rated
That's why
E
the-
through M now.
Okay.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that would explain it because they
Yeah.
were pretty violent and bloody. I mean, at that time, you look at games now and it's just like,
Whoa, yes.
we
And somehow Mortal Kombat keeps breaking that bar.
Really?
It gets gross. Some of these ones in Mortal Kombat 1 are disgusting.
That's crazy.
Like,
well, I guess you got to push the meter.
Yeah, and they do.
They do.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know at what point do you break the meter on that whole thing? But I'm sure they're going to find a way because that's how they do apparently. All right, Phil, what's on another one on your list?
Oh, jeez.
I know. Sorry, I'm moving too fast.
Yeah, hold on.
Holding
Just
on.
a moment. I've got it right here.
Standing by.
This is Donkey Kong 1994 and Mario versus Donkey Kong series.
Okay.
So
Oh,
not
yeah.
country.
Right.
This is the one where you play as Mario,
Okay.
and you're like climbing up the tower while Donkey Kong is throwing barrels at you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
That's a
the
good one.
94 version is actually an original Game Boy game.
Okay.
And so the way it starts off is like you're playing that original arcade.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end like you're used to, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I beat the game. No, it then opens up. You got a world map, and you got
geez.
different levels you can go to.
Interesting.
And it just made the game so much more better.
Okay.
And and Mario versus Donkey Kong on the Game Boy Advance is just a sequel to that.
Yeah.
And it just
Was even
did
better.
it better. Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing.
They're like puzzles in a way.
Oh, okay.
Trying to figure out like, okay, I got to go here to get this.
Yeah.
And then go over here,
Yeah.
get the key,
Yeah.
unlock the door.
Well, when we talked about this, Nintendo has very rarely had a misstep in
Right.
their games with the Mario, Donkey Kong, Diddy
Yeah.
Kong. Like every game that they've come out with
It's true.
has just
Yes.
been an incredibly like crafted story, an incredibly crafted gameplay. That's just that's why people keep coming back to Nintendo, and that's why Nintendo continues to be as good as they have been. As I just dropped my pencil. That was my kung fu. That was my Mortal Kombat move.
Yeah.
If they're ever gonna put Aaron in the game, you're gonna do, yeah. So that's my. I'm copywriting that right now. Okay, so I got to go to mine now, don't I?
Yes, you do.
There is a lot on this list. Let's do one that I absolutely do adore, which is Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
That's on my list.
Yeah. And I think what just makes Fallout New Vegas, I'm gonna make sure my microphone doesn't fall out. Fallout New Vegas, I hate using the word vibe because it's such an overused word, but that game from start to finish, it puts that vibe, that theme, that you are in the wild, wild west, and you are, it's crazy, it's unpredictable, it is awful, it is evil, and there is no end in sight for the desolation of what humanity has done to itself.
Yeah.
It is, and it's never cartoon. I mean, okay, so it's sort of cartoony at times, but there's that level of seriousness that is kept throughout the game, so that when you get to certain points and you discover who the guy is at the head of the tower in Vegas, the revelation of who and what happened, just earth-shattering to you as a new player going, wait, what?
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Mine, I think that this is what happened, and then even like the guy, the Roman centurion guys, whatever they're called, and it's
The
all
Legion.
the Legion,
Yeah.
and how terrifying they are, and the brutality of
Oh,
them.
I remember when you first walk into the Legion's camp.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that was like?
No, it's been a bite.
Like-
I mean, just
You walk in and they got like pikes in the
yeah.
ground
Okay. Yeah.
with heads on
Yeah.
them, and
Yeah.
okay, something's going on.
Something's
here.
happening. This is serious. They're not going to be messed around with. What is interesting about Fallout New Vegas is, and I didn't know this until I completed the game on my own, and then I went back and watched some videos. If you can get your charisma high enough, I think it's either charisma or whatever, you can actually talk the Legion down.
Yep.
And not fight them.
I
Yeah.
should have tried that.
At the end, but I didn't know about that until the end, right? And so I did. I went back and I got my card, and I went and did it. I was like, oh my gosh, it works. But Fallout, the Fallout legacy is, they did that so well. They made it so that you could do certain things. If you really buffed up this side of you, you could do incredible things. So Fallout New Vegas, and so there's rumors. It's either a Fallout 3 or I think it's a Fallout 3. There was a court case where Bethesda had to upload, their lawyers had to upload a bunch of stuff. And in that upload, they were supposed to black out a bunch of stuff so you wouldn't see it. They forgot to redact the stuff. So apparently there is a Fallout 3 remaster coming soon, apparently. Coming not soon, but soon enough. It's in the next year. So we're going to get a Fallout 3 remaster. I was hoping for Fallout New Vegas remaster.
I think it's what you're talking about with the lawsuit thing, is
Yeah.
that a recent thing or is
Yeah.
that an old one?
No, it's recent. They're recently.
So yeah, the Microsoft leak.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a lot of stuff in there
Yeah.
pertaining to like Elder Scrolls and all that.
Yeah.
So.
Stuff that they had not announced or had been
Oops.
keeping hidden. It was like, well, now everybody knows. Suckers. It's kind of that way. All right, Chris, what's your next on your top 10 list?
Madison.
Okay.
Madison.
Talk us through
What
Madison.
is this?
What is Madison?
Oh, it is a horror game.
Ooh, I love horror.
Okay, so yeah, actually, these things like this. You
Oh
and
my
Chris
goodness.
we should at some point have an episode where you two talk about horror games. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
you both, that's your jam.
I love horror games.
Not my
Oh
jam.
my goodness.
So talk us through Madison.
Madison is this game. It's hard to explain because, I mean, the story is all over the place. But you're trying to figure out. I don't even know what you're trying to figure out. I was so terrified playing it. I don't even know what the darn story is.
They scared the story out of you.
Oh, they scared the living crap out of me.
Everything.
That game, I can handle horror and scary stuff really well. I don't normally get scared.
Yeah.
But that game, I thought I crapped myself. I'm not even kidding. That game, man, it is something else. That is probably my favorite horror game of all time.
So there you go.
nice.
There's your
Madison.
game to
And
look
it's
for,
cheap.
Madison.
I was about to say, is it on the Game Pass?
Probably on Steam.
It is on the Game Pass,
Oh,
actually.
it is on the Game Pass.
Let me check. I can check.
It's
I'll
5
get back-
o'clock.
I'll get back to you.
That's
on
the
that.
5 o'clock bell.
That
We're
is the-
We're
at
not
the-
even at school at 5 o'clock.
We're in the school studio right now. That's why you're hearing noises. Well, the bell rings every day at 5, like a double
Interesting.
tone.
Okay.
It's the way it goes, apparently.
Let's see.
We'll see if the lights turn out at 6 if we're still here.
Yeah.
No, I think I bought it on Steam, I believe.
Okay.
I think I actually bought that game. But it's the atmosphere is like, oh my, I can't even describe it.
Okay.
It's
I
so
can't-
good. You have to experience it
You have-
yourself.
Okay.
There's this one part. Oh, I got to tell you about this. There's this one part where you go into this like a basement,
Yeah.
but there's water that's in the basement, and the sound is incredible. I mean, like unbelievable. And dude, that part, I had to get up and walk away. My heart was,
I've been there.
Heart
my heart was
palpitations.
beating. Oh, that game is so good. That's a good one right there.
So there you go. Madison, put it at the top of your list if you like to be
Yes.
scared.
Please do.
If you like to be scared out of your mind, body, and soul, there it is.
That's the one.
All right, Zoe, what's next on your list?
Well, then I got to say Resident Evil 7.
Oh, okay. Well, I was wondering when we were going to get to Resident Evil stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Phil kind of threw me into this one, too, without any background.
Hey, check this out.
Extremely scary, very dark.
Yeah.
Yep. It is.
It's
You never
disgusting.
know when anyone's just going to pop out of nowhere and start
Yeah.
stabbing you. It's
Yeah.
I also played it in VR, which
Oh,
was
gosh.
Oh man.
it literally physically made me sick.
Oh, jeez.
Like I was kind of nauseous after that.
my gosh.
Never again. And that was my first experience with VR. So,
Oh man.
The best of both worlds.
but you're trying to save your fiance, but she's gone crazy. So
Okay.
she's trying to kill you at the same
Is that
time.
the one where you're in the house and like
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
with the
yeah.
family.
I have so I can't play those kind of games. I'm the YouTube watcher. I'll watch a playthrough
Right.
because I can handle that because I can skip ahead or I can focus on the narration from the YouTuber playing whatever. But yeah, that game is unflinching.
Something
Yes.
else.
It just swings. It keeps on swinging at you, and you can't catch a break.
No, you
There's
can't.
no downtime. There might be a second or two where you're like, okay, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, come on.
The phone ringing and the
yeah.
yeah.
So I will give a special mention to the entire Resident Evil series because every game has had just like even like the stuff in Raccoon City and all like it is an incredible mythological study of story and how they've created characters and told that story. I never play them. I do enjoy watching them on YouTube because the storytelling within the Resident Evil game series from 1 to 7 to the Village to all, it has been incredible because they keep coming up with new and interesting stuff that is fascinating story-wise and character-wise that just makes you go, I want to know more.
Yes.
I want to keep going. I hate this game, but I love this game.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how Madison is. It's like,
Okay.
it's
I
like
hate-
that too. Yeah.
I hate this game, but I love this
Love it,
game.
Yeah.
All right, Phil, what's next on your list?
Well, I'm gonna also keep with the horror theme here, and that's Silent Hill 1
Oh,
through
no.
4.
No.
Yeah.
Oh
1
my
through
goodness.
4.
Yes.
Chris just jumped out of his seat.
Yes. Silent Hill.
He's
is,
having PTSD.
it's epic. I love that game. Oh
So,
my goodness.
okay, the start of the series for me. Now, I just 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Anything after that gets a little iffy.
You're right.
Okay,
yeah.
so the first one I played was on the PlayStation 1.
Okay.
Yep.
And I never thought pixelated polygons could be so terrifying.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the music.
Yeah.
Like you got that,
Yeah.
I don't know what instrument it is, but
Yeah.
it's like going off, and like that game scared me so bad. My mom would play it and stuff. And so like I would be in the room, in my room, and she'd be in the living room playing it, and I would hear the music go off, and I'm like, I would start screaming, "Turn it off!" Like, that game was terrifying.
That's a
Yeah.
And I think what scared me most about it was like I was a kid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the game is like very much religious based,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
is this real? Like, what's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
That game is incredible. The atmosphere,
Yeah.
the funny thing is
Yeah.
it's so foggy, and it was due to a limit, like
Limited budget or whatever.
no, the limited visuals, like
Oh,
they
yeah.
couldn't render so far.
Yeah, the draw distance.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
okay.
they added fog, which was beautiful.
Right.
it was great.
Some of the soundtrack in the game they made literally by putting like metal things in a washing machine and let it crank, and it's it's so scary.
It's a phenomenal
So
game.
scary.
Well, you're right, because a lot of the recent Silent Hill games, they haven't.
They're
been
not scary.
Yeah, they haven't been reviewed
not
very
good.
well.
No.
And so when I look at like gaming buzz, I look at like when Silent Hill 1 through 4, I never played them because I couldn't do it, but I would hear about their release when they released and just how good they were at what they did, and that's something me and Chris have talked about. The old school games and some of the games in this day and age, they're just so good at what they do,
yeah.
and you know when it's a good game.
They were making a new one on the PlayStation 4. It was
Yeah.
called PT.
Oh, I heard about
They
that.
released a demo, and that was
Yeah,
terrifying.
Chris and I talked about that a little bit. And
When are
but-
they going to come out with that game?
They're not.
Yeah,
They pulled it actually.
Yeah.
Actually, if you have a PlayStation 4 that still has that on it working, it's worth some money.
jeez,
Oh my
because it's not downloadable anymore. You
Right.
can't get it.
No.
It's been pulled.
I tried to find it.
Yeah,
I tried.
That one, yeah, that would have been
that's
amazing.
amazing. So yeah, Silent Hill is one of those games that you just. Oof. Let's see what I'm looking through my list of games because we've talked a lot about a lot of these games between Chris and Phil. Okay, Deus Ex,
Deus Ex. Which one?
the first one.
What was that? Machina or?
No.
Mankind?
Oh yeah, Deus Ex Machina. Thank you for. Well, hold on. Let me Google this. So this is back in this. So this is one of the first games that I played on a PC that was like legit.
Yeah.
Deus Ex. Hold on. I gotta find it because I didn't pull it up and I can't spell when I'm trying to do it like this. Deus Ex. What's the game? Where's the game? Give me the game. Oh my gosh, Google. For all the magic that Google is.
Get it together, Google.
Get it together, Google. So, Deus Ex. Let me find it here for a second. Here we go. 2000
Yeah.
Holy
was when this
crap.
game comes out.
Okay, yeah.
So the original Deus Ex. This was put out by Ion Storm, Eidos Interactive. The role playing elements in this game were legit, and it's when you look at the graphics in this thing, it's pretty. It's not like you look at it now and you're like, okay, that's the 2000s game.
It looks pretty good.
But Deus Ex was brilliant because of the story it told, and it pulled you in. And I have distinct memories of playing this game, and we've talked about this before with Chris and maybe with Phil. But just that you get that feeling, and again, this is not an actual feeling you get in your brain, but you get this like feeling in your brain that you're just like the serotonin button is getting pushed when you're playing a really, really great fun game that just is pulling and pushing and everything. Like that's what it was like playing Deus Ex. It was such a fun game and so rewarding and so incredible, and you just kept wanting to go. And so Deus Ex, and they came out with a sequel, and they've come out with one in 2015. I haven't played the one in 2015, but yeah, Deus Ex was just, and it was so revolutionary in what a lot of it did, and it was just incredible. I have such good memories of that game. And I think I came back to it a couple of years ago and played it again and just was like the nostalgia. It wasn't a nostalgia-like thing that I liked about it. It was the actual game that was really, really, really legit.
You gotta love when that works out.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I don't know. And I feel like a lot of the games on this list are going to be games that are old school, that aren't a lot of the new school stuff.
Oh, that's what I got too, mostly.
And that makes me sad. All right, Chris, what's next on your list?
Final Fantasy X.
Of course.
10?
Final Fantasy.
Okay.
I love.
Hold on.
No, that's acceptable. Yeah.
That's
That's
acceptable.
acceptable.
I was concerned about the tone in Phil's voice. He was like,
well-
okay. I was like, okay, are we gonna
Okay.
do we need to
Well,
talk?
it's that game's like one that when it first came out, I did not like it.
Oh yeah.
But
see,
the
I
more
didn't at first either.
But eventually, yes, it's a
Okay.
good game.
It gets
It
better.
picks
Yeah.
up. Yeah, that one in Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
7.
No,
Okay.
that's the one everyone goes to. I've been playing the
Seven's good.
remake, and
Oh, you have?
I will meet you in the middle there and say my favorite is Final Fantasy 9.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah. There we go.
10, 9, and 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there you
Now this is gonna sound really terrible as I am a gamer and I'm the co-host of this program. I have never played a Final Fantasy game in my life.
go. You need
Aaron,
to.
I even
You
know
should.
what that is.
No, it's not. Okay, team timeout. Don't even start with me. I know what that game is. I'm not an idiot. I'm aware of Final Fantasy, ma'am. I was alive when they came out with the movie and that whole crazy
Oh,
storm.
I didn't know there was a movie.
There's a
There's
movie.
two.
There,
Okay.
yeah,
There's
there's
two.
two.
And it
actually,
was
yeah.
it was unrelated but related, and people didn't like it. Anyway,
I loved it.
So
it was
did I.
the graphics and the technology that was used to make that movie incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
In fairness to Zoe, I should have played a Final Fantasy game in my lifetime. I just have never gotten around to it. I need to probably just do it and just get over it myself.
It looks fun.
The story is what I've been told is amazing, and how
Yes,
the graphics,
everyone. Yeah.
everything is great.
The stories are good.
So Final Fantasy is a
music.
game that we recommend
music,
across the
oh my
board
God.
here
Yeah.
on the County Gamers. All right, Zoe, back to you. Anything else on your list?
Okay, Aaron, this isn't going to surprise you. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. The new one that just came
Yes,
out.
the new one. So Aaron knows the whole reason I actually became a counselor was because of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. So I had to play the game. It is
So
a-
team timeout. We need to explain why.
Yeah, we need to hear
Because
this.
a bunch of listeners who have never heard this story be like, I'm sorry, what context? Can we get the rest of that?
So I think I was like 14, went to go see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with some friends.
Uh-huh.
And I just really wanted to know why. Like, how could he do all those
Yeah.
horrible, gruesome things
Yeah.
without feeling any remorse?
Yeah.
Like, it really intrigued me.
Yeah.
And then that started my road into psychology and eventually becoming a school counselor. And I know that might sound crazy, but I think it's very fitting.
interesting.
Well, and a lot of times people will kind of get into their journey of their career
Yeah.
by an incidental or accidental exposure to something.
Yep.
And the reality of it is that, as corny as it sounds, because obviously the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, it's a corny
Yes,
horror
very
movie,
corny.
whatever. But the reality of it is, to take the serious turn on it, is everyone has a story. Everyone has a reason for what they do, and it takes some pretty brave people to be willing to look into the heads of people
Yeah.
who have a complicated story, who have a complicated past, and be willing to listen and engage and journey through that with them. So, to your point,
Yeah.
it's a funny anecdote, I think, but it's also a serious marker in your career because it puts you in this building with us and with our students, and that's an incredible thing that I'm extraordinarily thankful for that you found us when we got you because. Yeah, it's been a huge benefit to us here at Lincoln, and to us as staff members to have you in the building and to have you as a cheerleader for our kids and us. So, we're talking about the new Texas Chainsaw
Yes,
Massacre.
like literally just came out. It's a little glitchy,
Okay.
not gonna lie,
Okay.
and it's
Yeah,
very
it's
hard
a
to
little buggy.
actually be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy.
Okay.
But I have got to do it twice
Okay.
out of my 20 times probably played.
Yeah, playing as Leatherface.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do like Sissy. She's like the sister.
Okay.
She's really awesome because she can get in all the nooks and crannies that the other
Yeah.
characters can't get through.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
That's a game I will never play, but
You'll love it, Aaron. I'm telling you.
If you play as the family, I was explaining this to my mom. I was like, you should check it out. If you play as the family, you're the one committing the horror.
Oh.
You're not scared.
Yeah.
You're the bad guy
Yeah.
in that situation.
don't
If you're
know.
playing as like
so
a
Phil,
victim,
I don't know if you know me very well. I don't like being the bad guy. I
I can tell.
I will play RPGs as the nicest, like straight edge character. I will save every damsel, every gentleman in distress. I will do everything to save the world and become the most celebrated hero of all time. I like when it comes to like the like dialogue trees and there's like the option where you just tell somebody to like pound sand and get out of the way or else I'm gonna punch you. I can't choose it. I can't do it.
Oh,
I'm like,
that's me
so
all the way.
me."
oh, we need to get you. We need to get you to be the bad guy sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes it's fun.
I'll put it on my list.
It is.
for my next event, for my next game that I'm going to play. All right, Phil, what's on your list?
Metal Gear Solid 3.
Of course.
Snake
Oh
Eater.
my goodness gracious alive, that's a great game.
It's my favorite Metal Gear game, and probably they got a remake coming out, so I'm really looking forward to that. That game was awesome. Everything about it. It has some crazy like mechanics. Like there's a boss fight in the game where the boss is an old dude.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling with him, you can just save your game and take your system clock, set it forward a week, and come back into the game, and he'll be dead of old age.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, that's kind of smart. So I have played
Interesting.
one of the last Metal Gear Solid games on Steam. It was for sale a couple years back, and I really loved it.
Was
Like,
it 5?
something
The
like-
Phantom Pain?
Yeah, just so good.
Yeah.
And like just the voice acting and the storytelling. And I was just like, and at that point I was full of regret because I had never really played Metal Gear Solid because it had been a big game in the 2000s, 2010s,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
And I just never caught on to it. And then when it was for sale for like really cheap, I bought a whole bunch of them. And I started playing, and I was like, "This is amazing! Why haven't I?" So it's still to this day stands up.
Yeah.
It's still
You missed out on one of the best parts though by playing 5.
oh
And that is David Hayter is the voice actor of Solid Snake,
okay
and he's got an amazing like deep raspy voice.
yeah
This is Snake.
Yeah.
You know, and like he's in the first 3 or 4 games, and
okay
just hearing him speak
yeah.
just adds
Incredible.
something to the game that makes it amazing.
I don't know. The song too is just awesome.
Oh yeah, the Snake Eater song.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sing it at random to her sometimes.
I'm gonna have to put that on my list. I do need to get back into that game because I haven't installed it recently, but it's still on my Steam thing that I can play around with. Okay, let's see. I talked about Deus Ex. Let's see. What is something I haven't talked about a lot here? Da, 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 da. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so this is an old school game, and I don't know if anyone's gonna know this game, but it was called Commandos Behind Enemy Lines.
That was made by Eidos
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Yep.
What is interesting, and it's
a great game.
fair play. I went and Googled games from the 90s because I had to remember some of those. And I remember playing Commandos behind enemy lines. The crazy thing about Commandos is it was permadeath.
Yeah.
So if you had a commando that you went on a mission with
Yep.
and he died, you had to cycle in another commando, but you lost that dude.
Yeah.
And each of them had such unique personalities and the game and how it worked. It's one of those games that I will go back and find if I can find it on GOG or whatever. But it was just, I remember, and because I looked at the title and I looked at the screenshot, I was like, oh, I remember that game.
I think it is on GOG actually.
I think
it might
is,
be.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was so well done, which is again a lot of the games in the 2000s and the 90s. It was well done. The missions were interesting. The characters were unique. You really wanted to keep playing. You wanted to save your character. You didn't want to lose your commando because again, permadeath was a thing. And then before we move on to Chris, I'm going to mention Quake.
Cool.
As one
Quake's
of
a good one.
the original, the first Quake.
Yeah.
That was, and I don't think I probably played a scary game after that. Quake scares your mind. Scares you, like the atmosphere and how it feels, and just it's the Doom sequel. It's the Doom kind of, and then there was like Quake 2,
Yeah.
and then Quake. It was
They remastered 2 recently.
Gosh.
I picked it up on Game Pass.
it's so in the music and the sound. It's such a part of my life and my childhood. Quake was just like such good stuff. They don't make them like they used to. Is all I'm going to say about that.
No, they do not.
All right, Chris, what's next on your list?
So I got 2 Splinter Cell, the original Splinter Cell.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great game. I
Yeah.
love that game.
That I couldn't get into that one so much because I was such a huge Metal Gear fan.
I kind of figured
And I'm
that,
like,
yeah.
But you know.
I
Well,
like them both. though.
Didn't Splinter Cell become Tom Clancy, or wasn't Tom Clancy Splinter Cell?
Yeah.
Splinter
Yeah,
Cell?
Yep.
it is.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay.
And Home Sweet Home, another horror game. It's
On the NES? Or no,
No.
that's the one that started it was like the base for Resident Evil, right?
Home. I don't know if I think it's made in the. I think it's the Philippines. It's a Philippine horror
Yeah.
game.
Yes, it's a foreign game, and
Oh my goodness.
I'm writing all these down.
I think it was on the NES. That's how I know about it.
That lady's cray cray right there, man. She tried to kill me like 20,000 times.
At least.
At least.
Yeah, so so Sweet Home is the game you're talking about. And it was for Capcom for the family computer in 1989.
For the family computer, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Adorable.
Based on the Japanese horror film of the same name,
Yeah.
and tells the story of five filmmakers exploring an old mansion in search of precious frescoes, which is like paintings inside. So yeah, Home Sweet Home. So I'm guessing Home Sweet Home is based off of that in some way,
Yeah.
in capacity. That's a deep cut. Okay,
Yeah.
I had not heard about Sweet
Yeah,
Home.
so like the 5 people going into the house,
Okay.
that's Resident Evil 1 right there. So
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
interesting. All right, so we
That is
that's
a hidden gem.
That's-
Underrated.
okay. I don't even know where you'd find that now.
Sweet home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all in Japanese. It looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we are at 1 hour. So here's what we're going to do. We are at 5:18 p.m. here, and we do all have to go home eventually. So here's what we're going to do. Looking at your list, choose up to 5 to rapid fire talk about. Rapid fire-ish. Rapid fire-ish. We'll still have some time. We won't totally rush through. But look at your lists and pick out up to 5 of your games that we haven't talked about that you desperately think we need to cover. I'm going to hit the pause button so that we can do that for a second. And for you at home, you'll hear nothing but a jump back in. But here in the studio, we're going to take a short pause as we look through our lists and contemplate our top 5. Well, I mean, we'll obviously talk about this in a future episode at some point, but the top 5 for today of what we talked about already. So here we go. All right, we did a pause, which at home, if you're listening, there was no pause. But here in the studio, it was an hours long debate on our. We were scratching things out, we were throwing things at each other.
Throwing
You
Coke
can't claim
bottles.
that game. It was almost a street fight, but thankfully, what?
That was creepy, whatever that was.
Did the fan just talk back there? What is that?
I don't know. Something was talking.
What are you doing on your phone, Phil?
I got a list up.
That was a little strange.
That was very. Well, we do have a ghost, you know.
That's great. That makes me feel better about my life choices.
Nice looking behind him.
And now I'm terrified. Okay, so back to you.
Okay, so asphalt. Anyone?
No.
I know what that is, but of course I live with you, so.
So
Tell
when
them
we
about it.
first got the Switch,
Okay.
it was a free game. It's a car racing game. Poor Aaron, he's like very
He's
scared.
so
I'm
nervous.
confused. I'm
For
so
for the listeners, there was a sound behind Aaron and I, and
Creepy.
something was talking. But
I'm trying to figure out what the heck
Dun,
that was.
Anyways, car racing game.
Oh, you know what it was? I bet you it was either one of our phones saying, "I don't understand that. Please repeat."
is there an Alexa over there?
No. They don't allow those here.
Oh,
No, I don't know what it was. But it
For
was
good
something.
reason.
It was something
Okay.
like that. Okay, moving on.
Asphalt.
Everything's
I have heard
fine.
of that game, I
Everything's
think.
fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, I got pretty addicted to it. I do like car racing games. You can customize all your cars. They have multiplayer. They have like little competitions where
Yeah.
you can win all the awesome things. But it's something that I always go back to when I just need to relax and kind of like not be thinking about anything because
Yeah.
you're just
and it's all free.
yeah, and it's all
Okay.
free.
Wow.
So if you've never checked it out, you should.
Nice.
It's available on, I think, everything,
Yes.
Okay.
even your phone.
Everywhere,
So.
including Switch, probably.
Yep.
What else is on your list? You said
Oh yeah,
three?
yeah. So Pokemon Go, don't
Of
hate.
course.
Okay, during COVID, during COVID, it was a great way for me to connect with Phil's family. We
Yeah.
would just kind of drive around and hit all the spots.
Yeah.
And then next, I would have to say The Sims. I know.
Which one?
Uh-oh.
So this was like 2016. So whatever that one was,
So
Was
was
that-
that 4? 4 just came out, I think.
probably.
Okay, we're gonna have a conversation on the list when it comes to me because we're gonna do some crosstalk here in a little bit when we get to me about The Sims.
The Sims is amazing.
Okay, Sims 4 at least. I think 2016 was The Sims 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Create your own reality.
Okay. Okay, and so that's your list.
Yes,
The
those are my
remaining-
last 3.
Okay, Phil, what you got?
Okay, so I got the Time Splitter series.
Oh yeah.
It's a first-person shooter, and
Yeah.
the multiplayer on it was super fun. I played a ton of it with my brother.
Okay.
And it had like over the series hundreds of unlockable characters
Yeah.
that you could play as.
Never heard of that one.
Another one, Elden Ring.
Yes, that was on my
That
list.
game makes me so mad.
It makes okay. So I've told Aaron that It's so good, but like I have to take breaks in playing it.
Yeah.
I can't stay on it.
It is good.
I still haven't beaten it, but it's one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
I never made it past the first boss.
A lot of people
I
don't.
can't.
Yeah.
I'm not that
It's
good.
it's so beautifully well done
It
and
is.
storytelling, and
Yep.
it's exactly what you want when you need it, and you can wander around and go anywhere. You don't. Sometimes you can just go your own way.
Yeah.
But the map also doesn't tell you where to go. You have
Right.
to find your own way,
Yeah,
and
it's
there's
pretty
not
cool.
a lot of games out there that'll do that to you.
Yeah.
Because they're always about holding your hand and getting.
Oh,
where you wanna
Elden Ring does not.
get. No.
At all.
It literally
No, it
like will
slaps you.
slap you. Yeah, it
Slaps you
slaps your
upside
hand
the
away and
head.
says no.
Yeah. And I guess the last game I'm gonna have on my list now is N64 game Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Ooh.
Never heard of that one.
It's
Oh.
wow, you guys should check it out.
Okay.
It's you play as a little red squirrel trying to get your girlfriend back.
Oh, okay.
this-
Yeah.
And it is not a children's game.
No, no.
There is cursing. There is
Okay. Inappropriate things.
plenty of them,
Okay. Okay.
but it's hilarious. It's
Never
so
even
funny.
heard of
Okay, there we go. Well, that reminds me of like the Banjo Kazooie games. Like they were obviously
It's
for
made by the
children.
same company.
That doesn't surprise me
Yeah.
at all.
Rare
Okay.
also does Donkey Kong. So.
Oh, I miss Rare. They're still around. They're still doing stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing is as good as that. Okay, are you ready for the list? I'm surprised this one didn't get mentioned. Half-Life.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's a good one.
Half-Life's awesome.
And the reason why is because Half-Life, when it came out, it changed the game. No pun intended. It changed the game. If you go back and watch that intro, and we've talked about it when it came to Skyrim and how Skyrim does a good intro, but how Starfield just boggles the opening. But Half-Life's opening is interesting
It is.
because you can't move. You can do a little looking around, but everything you see reveals something
Yep.
about something that comes back at the end of the game.
Yep.
But you don't know why, and you don't know what's going on.
Foreshadowing.
And
And
it,
it's, yeah,
it introduced like a whole brand new physics
yeah,
It did.
thing too.
yeah,
Like I remember picking up and moving stuff and like, wow, this is crazy.
yeah.
Like,
It was really good.
It was
Yeah.
it was incredible. And then Half-Life 2 was good.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Lost Coast.
yeah, they haven't. So they haven't done. This is the issue with Steam. Steam is a product of the company that produced Half-Life, and they haven't really made any games because Steam is so popular and makes them enough money that they don't really probably need to. But someday they'll come back and do a full. I mean, they know they did like a Half-Life version or game for like virtual reality, but I don't have a VR
Alex.
set, so I was mad about that.
Yeah.
But Half-Life and Half-Life 2 are just they took the capacity for mechanics for games for first-person shooters, and they said we don't want to do any of that. We want to do so much more.
Yeah.
And it became its own creature. It is just there's no question that there's before Half-Life, there's after Half-Life.
Yeah.
And the gaming industry was the better for it. Whether or not they
Yeah.
learned any of the lessons is still up for debate.
Nope.
Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead
That's a
2.
good game.
Yeah.
And it's fun because it seamlessly you can play it single player and you still have your buddies helping you out. But the power of Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 was the multiplayer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where you could go online and get a bunch of people together and you could fight and do it together and talk and share. And the community, at least about a year ago, wasn't toxic. Because I went back into it and I played a lot of it, and the community was pretty encouraging and wasn't toxic or mean or jerky, but it's just this.
Well, it's an old game now, so
Yeah.
if you want
Yeah.
to have a community, you can't really afford to be a jerk,
Right.
because
Yeah,
you're probably it's Valve also.
Yeah,
right,
oh,
that
yeah,
did
that's
it.
right.
So they don't like the number 3.
oh,
So-
they didn't do a third. That's why
Yeah.
Back 4
You're
Blood came out
prob-
because
yep.
or Back was it Back 4 Blood? Yeah, we talked about that and how disappointing that was.
Yeah.
All right, Left 4 Dead. All right, my second to last game is Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
Never even played it.
Yeah.
So
We-
the
Never played
what
that
makes
game.
me cranky is that I had to play it on. I played it on the PS3 or PS4. I can't remember which it was. PS4 maybe. I don't know. And I could never play it on the PC because they never produced it for the PC.
Yeah.
But it is such a fun game, and the story and the music. It is just, and the way the game ends is just heartbreaking. But
Yeah.
it's a beautiful heartbreak, and it's just like you go through all of these things, and the story isn't decided, and you're exploring and discovering, and it made me really sad to not be able to play that game anymore. But it also made me sad because as much as people praise Red Dead Redemption 2, I don't like Red Dead Redemption 2, and because it's already a story that's been told. I already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're all going to turn out either dead or they're going to fight me in Red Dead Redemption. And it's beautiful. The graphics are beautiful. The mechanics are beautiful.
The level of detail is insane.
It is.
But
like
it was
your hair grows in that game.
Give me the future. Go into the future with that game technology. Tell me the next part of the story, and then that'll be what I'll be happy about. All right, this is the last one that I mean I've got so much on here, but we're just going to go with this last one. So the Sims game that I love is Sims 3.
Okay.
Here's why. The Sims 4, it's all loading screens. When you go to travel to town, it's loading screen. When you travel to go to a store, it's a loading screen. When you travel anywhere, it's a loading screen.
That's fair.
The Sims 3 was truly open world. You would get in your car. By the way, Sims 4 still doesn't have cars. And you could drive to the park, and the world would still be active.
That sounds
There's no
more fun.
loading screens. Now, mind you, it had so many expansions that it gives you the warning now when you play it. Do you want to initialize all these expansions? Because if you don't have a beefy enough computer, you're going to have issues. But the Sims 3 was truly, and some people argue that Sims 2 was better of the mechanics and how the game worked with progression in life and stuff. But the Sims 3 was the last game to be truly open world and to truly be where you could create a family, where you could create dynamics, where you could tell a story
Right.
through the Sims 3 and do all the things you wanted to do. So I love the Sims 3. I hate the Sims 4 because, and it's interesting in this, then we'll turn it over to Chris here in a second. So they've talked about Project Renee, which is allegedly going to be the Sims 5. But what was recently revealed is that in one of their slide decks for the presentation like a week ago or something like ago, they said that the Sims 4 would continue alongside Project Renee. And they said Project Renee would be free to download, which is a weird thing to say, not free to play, free to download.
Right.
And so there's been mutterings among the Sims.
I know what that means.
Yeah,
Microtransactions.
monetization.
Yeah, exactly.
But what the Sims community, a lot of the voices that I watch on YouTube have been saying is, we're not going to get a Sims 5. We're going to get a live service game where you're going to, I don't have to pay for this or pay for that and this stuff. And I don't know if EA knows what their audience's patience for this kind of stuff is, but I know for me, I stopped buying packs. I stopped buying the expansion packs because there was no more point.
Yeah.
You were not like, there was stuff in that game that is still broken from the business game expansion where you can make your own business. There's stuff that is still broken from that game expansion 3 years later.
Let's fix it.
And it's like, if you guys can't afford to fix it, I'm done. I'm done playing this game. I'm not EA. You've burned me once. You've burned me twice. I'm not going for a third burn. Bye, Felicia. See you later. So Sims 3, I will go back and play because it has its own. Again, sometimes it'll break. I have to make sure I save and save. But for the most part, it's a polished game that it's a joy to play. Like I love getting back into it and telling those stories. And also just a special, like mentioned, Sims 2000. Or SimCity 2000, and then SimCity 3, SimCity 4, and then SimCity 2020 or whatever it was a terrible mistake, and everyone hates it.
Yeah.
And that's why City Skylines is so popular, and that's why City Skylines 2 is coming out in a month, because they took over for Maxis because EA couldn't get their head out of their feet. So, I was trying to come up with a better adjective.
I love it. I love it.
That's different.
Head out of their feet.
I like that.
Because they were just smelling. I don't know. That the metaphor doesn't work. Moving on. Chris.
I come up with something.
I'll figure something out someday.
Warzone.
Okay.
Warzone, Call of Duty.
Yeah, I play.
Okay.
So the reason I like Warzone is because it's nostalgic. My dad used to play that game before he died, so I played with him and my brother-in-law in Georgia.
Yeah.
And I still play with my brother-in-law 2 years after my dad's death on that game. That's why I love that game.
How do you feel about them shutting down the first Warzone 1?
I think it was stupid.
Yeah.
Verdansk.
All of your skins are gone now.
Yeah,
That you
Verdansk.
paid for.
Well, it's like Caldera. They did the same. I
Yeah,
bought the
they're gone.
Snoop Dogg one.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I got the Snoop Dogg one, and then they killed it. I'm like, what are you doing,
Yeah.
man? Stop it.
It actually just died. This month on
Yeah,
the 6th.
They did, yeah.
They shut it down
Yeah.
forever.
Good
So
Lord.
stupid.
Yeah.
My goodness, Activision. What is wrong with them?
Everything?
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything.
Because it's Activision Blizzard now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on Activision Blizzard.
Microsoft bought them, so fingers crossed something happens.
It should get better.
It's going to take a lot of Microsoft bleach to clean that house out.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's good.
That is good.
It's gonna so. Do you have any more games to talk about before I launch?
Yeah, I
into
have
my
4 more.
Okay, please, before I start invecting again.
No Man's Sky, of
Oh,
course.
Okay. Yeah,
Love
so
that
good.
game.
Definitely.
Command and Conquer.
Yes,
all
Yeah.
of them.
I
love
because
them.
I've talked about it so much in this podcast,
God,
I didn't want to mention it again.
That's a great game.
But Command and Conquer, that was my middle
Yeah.
school and high school years where we would
Yeah.
bring
Yeah.
computers over to
Oh,
friends'
yeah.
houses, network them together, and
LAN
we'd
it.
play. We would just play Command and Conquer, and it was a good game. And then Red Alert was amazing.
Ooh, yeah.
Red Alert 2 was good. Covert Operations.
3 kind of went kind of
Yeah,
that,
and
but
now Command and Conquer's dead. So
I wish
say
it
it,
wasn't.
say a prayer and leave the flowers and walk away and find a new game that maybe
Toot
might
the
do it.
horns and stuff.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
That game right there, man. I played the living crap out of that game. I had this little banger car that was a piece of crap.
Right.
Turned it into like a 900 horsepower.
Yeah.
That was
That's
awesome. And then my last one is Flight Simulator.
Yeah, I was
Without
waiting. waiting for that.
I love Flight
So the new
Simulator.
Flight Simulator 2022, when they revamped it and they came out with this whole, and we've both played it. I have it installed. I haven't picked it back up again.
It's a great game.
But it is photorealistic
Yeah.
flight sim, and it's real time updating with weather. It's
Yeah.
real time updating with like
It's
so there was
freaking
a
awesome.
when there's a hurricane. What people in flight sim will do is because it's like up to the second updating weather, they'll get in their plane and they'll chart a course wherever that hurricane is,
Yep.
and you can fly through a legit hurricane with all of the conditions
did it.
being
Wow.
measured,
That's awesome.
and it is absolutely mind-boggling.
I've seen the game. It's beautiful. I've
It's
never played it.
gorgeous.
I think it'd be too technical for me to.
It's not. It's not though. It's,
Really?
No, it's not.
Yeah, you
good.
can play it on what I play on, which is Dumb Guy,
Okay.
because I don't know how to
Yeah.
fly a plane.
Right.
But like I think for me, like I will have to invest because Chris has done this. He's got like a flight stick and the little pedals and the throttle things and all that. So I think
love
that
that
makes
game.
that makes it more
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, it's fun.
It does, and it's like we've talked about it. I'm a flight sim player from back in the day, from like Flight Sim '98. I've been playing
Okay,
Flight
yeah.
Sim since 1998,
great game.
and every time it comes out, I get it because I just love it so much. And so
And
this
it's
time,
gotten better and better and better.
it's one of those few games that they repeatedly rebooted it, and there's not a failure among it. It just keeps improving. It keeps getting better.
Yeah.
So the Activision Blizzard situation
Debacle.
which is it's the oh boy, let's try that again.
Words.
It's the Diablo debacle. And I was watching a video on this. So I played Diablo 4 when it came out. I loved it. And I got about, I'd say halfway through the game, maybe a third of the way through the game, and it just started to suck. It started to be a grind.
no.
It started to really, and this was before they
Yep.
did the update where they nerfed everything, where they took away all the cool stuff and made it harder to earn what you needed to earn. And so this video talked about a lot of like how Blizzard has just, they had such a great possibility. They had such a good game, but they pushed it and they delayed it, and people were leaving the company because of allegations and issues within the house that they hadn't cleaned up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, geez.
Again, that Microsoft bleach I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
it's just, it wasn't, Microsoft didn't get a hold of them soon enough. And so Diablo 4, I'm sure it's fine. I'll have to go back and play it again. But it was Diablo 4, and then Baldur's Gate 3 came out. And it was like, nope, bye Diablo. I don't even know who you are.
Who are you?
Diablo, don't even know her. I know, like Baldur's Gate is just, and that's where I will end on mine. Is Baldur's Gate 3 is in the top 5 of all time games. It's just that good. So, well, there we go. We've talked about games for the better part of an hour and 22 minutes.
Woo!
Yeah.
That was
Yippee kippy,
fun.
Let's go.
I enjoyed it.
yippee skippy. Is there any closing thoughts on
We
game?
actually have a viewer request.
Oh yeah. Okay, we do have to talk about that. Thank you.
Yeah.
What is our request?
So, a commenter on our last episode.
Yes, which we hardly ever get, which is very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for commenting on the YouTube part of this.
It was my brother.
Oh, hey.
Actually.
Hey, Phil's brother.
What's up, Chris? Anyways.
What's up, bro?
Friend of the
Another
show.
Chris.
Friend of the show, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one.
So,
The other one.
he wanted us to talk about Beyond Good and Evil.
Okay, so I am unfamiliar with this game.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
You guys don't know about it.
Please
Okay.
walk us through it.
Perfect. So, it came out on the PlayStation 2,
Okay.
GameCube, and original Xbox, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
You are an orphan girl,
Okay.
and it's a sci-fi game.
Okay.
So you're an orphan girl named Jade,
Okay.
and your mentor or adopter, I guess I should say, is actually like a warthog pig dude named Paige.
Okay.
And you live on this island with other orphans, and you get attacked by aliens.
Okay.
What in the world?
Yeah, you
There
get
we
it.
go.
Okay, so it's a Zelda-like game.
Oh,
Where it's like you can find heart containers and increase your.
So we're doing Beyond Good and Evil 2, right?
No.
Oh,
This
the
is
original.
2 is not out.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
I'll
so
talk
it's
about 2 in a
Okay,
second.
gotcha. All right, I'm on top. I got it. We got it.
So you get attacked by aliens,
Okay.
and stuff happens. There's
Right.
corruption.
Right.
You have like a little hovercraft,
Okay.
and I don't want to like spoil too much, but
Right.
you can upgrade that hovercraft to eventually become a spaceship,
What?
and you go into space eventually.
okay.
But you get the currency in the game, and the way that you unlock more equipment is you get these pearls,
Okay.
and you trade them in for new devices and
Yeah, yeah,
stuff. And the main way of getting those pearls is you need a photograph
Okay.
all the species on the planet,
Oh, okay.
and which is important because you're getting invaded. The world is at war, and it's like we need a documentation of what we have.
Okay.
And the story is just it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's heartbreaking at times
Yeah.
with the things that happen, and yeah, it's just really good. It should be remade, but my brother said he's like, I'm surprised because we talked about games that need to be remade.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know like if he just forgot, but they are making a sequel.
Yeah. Beyond Good and Evil.
Do you have it pulled up?
I know. So before we look at the sequel, so reception, great ratings are sometimes an important part of gaming.
Yeah.
In the past, in the present, and whatever. But with this game, so Metacritic, PS2 was 86 out of 100, PC 83, Xbox 87, GameCube, or GCN, which is
The GameCube.
Thank you. 87, Xbox 360, 84, PS3, 83. Publication, GameSpot gave it an 8.3. GameSpy gave it a 4.5 out of 5. And IGN, a notoriously unpredictable one, gave it a 9.0 out of 10.
Yeah.
So the original game was a fairly strong,
My mom played it to almost completion. I'm gonna say she got like 98% of it all.
yeah.
And that's one of those games I used to stay up late watching her play. I'd help her like try to figure out like where some of the species were hidden, because sometimes you like got to do like weird things to get them to appear.
Right.
And if she got into like a difficult like boss
Oh,
fight,
do you want to know who's developing this sucker? Ubisoft.
Yep. Yeah, it was a Ubisoft game.
So it's Ubisoft is
Current
not,
Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me how long it has been in
10
development?
years.
15.
15. Jeez.
15.
I saw 10 years on here. 15 years.
It has been in development for 15 years.
Jeez.
They showed
Yeah, Good and Evil 2.
they showed a preview when the Xbox 360 was new.
Oh my gosh.
When it was new. They're like, okay, yeah, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Let's go. Look at this awesome
Right.
CGI trailer.
Right.
And nothing. Crickets.
15 years.
And I looked it up the other day, and as of August, it says that they are still making it. It's still coming, guys.
I'm looking at the website, and it's like a spiritual successor. Beyond Good and Evil is a spiritual successor to the original cult classic, a prequel that would transport players into a profoundly multicultural world with blah 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 blah. But there's no release date.
None.
The trailer, I remember, didn't it come out last year?
They did release a trailer recently.
And it looked really cool.
Yeah.
But there was the question of, on Google, when you search for Beyond Good and Evil 2, there's one question. Will Beyond Good and Evil 2 ever release?
Yeah. Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
And it says,
and-
yes, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in development, despite the lack of information. It's been, you're right, 15 years since the start of development for
crap.
Beyond
That's
Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
Good.
And it really makes you worried, when something's in, like the last
Yeah.
Duke Nukem game was in development for like 15 years or 10 years.
Yeah.
And no one liked it when
No.
it came out.
Well, so here's the thing about Duke
Because
Nukem.
then at that point it was dated.
Right. Well, and here's the thing about Duke Nukem is that the thing about Duke Nukem is it's not like a Doom. Duke
Yeah.
Nukem is a very specific kind of game with a
Yeah.
specific kind of feel to it, and it's if you were to look to again, this is just me and where I sit and probably where I stand as well. when you look at the Duke Nukem content through the lens of 2023, it's a game that shouldn't be made because how it treats women and how it views women, it's pretty awful.
It's highly dated.
It's really inappropriate. Now, when I was in high school or even young adult, Duke Nukem was, oh yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, he says all these words and does these things and has these catchphrases
and chew bubblegum.
Yeah, beep, and you're like, oh man, that's so edgy. Well, yeah, it was edgy in 2000. In 2023, it's like, no, it's not edgy. It's not cool. It's not different. It's just more of the same.
Pretty cringe, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cringe, bro.
Pretty sus and cringe, bro. What are you doing?
Super sus.
Oh man,
you ain't got the Riz, man.
Very mid.
Yeah, very mid. Yeah, not even mid, like below mid.
Below mid.
You're under mid, whatever low, whatever. I don't even know what they use for that. But yeah, no, like Duke Nukem, they didn't innovate. They didn't do anything different. They just were trying to do more of the same, and it just felt inappropriate. It was like this is not fun. This is just you're just rehashing the old themes, because it was on my list. I had Duke Nukem. Because again, I have memories of that as a younger adult and teenager playing it, but now as I think even like in the late 2000s, as it was in development hell and wasn't going anywhere, I even had that thought of like, why do we need another Duke Nukem game?
Yeah.
And it just doesn't. It's like nobody asked for it, nobody wanted it, nobody cared enough about it. Yeah. Why would you make it again? Like it just
kill it.
Yeah, put it
and leave it dead.
We do need a new Beyond Good and Evil though.
Yeah.
I hope it's good.
Well,
maybe scrap it all, start over. They've probably done that about 5 times already.
Well, here's the thing. We've talked about Ubisoft, me and Chris, and Ubisoft has not a great track record.
Not recently.
No. The old Ubisoft
in the beginning,
was and there's no questioning that.
They made the Splinter Cell games, right?
Yes,
they did.
Yeah,
they were great games.
But I think this is what happened with EA and Ubisoft is they put out some real good games. Like they put out some bangers, some really incredible games in the early 2000s, late 2000s. But now they've gotten to that money grubbing situation where they need to make money. Yeah. They want to make money, and so they're putting out these games that people are like, it was fun for a minute, but now I'm not playing it anymore. Like Diablo 4's play base was like here. And recently, like in the last several months, what they've observed has crashed.
Tanked, yeah.
It's crashed. People aren't going back into that game. And I haven't played it in a couple of months because I'm loving Baldur's Gate 3 and the way that it doesn't microtransaction me and it treats me with respect and trusts me and like treats you like a player. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm hopeful. But it's the same thing. Like when you remember, you talked about Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yeah.
They're making a game off of that called Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
Skull and Bones has not had a release date. It keeps getting pushed and delayed.
And I hear they're also like remaking Black Flag also.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But this is Ubisoft, who they've killed games. And actually, Skull and Bones they can't. So I read this somewhere. They've canceled a bunch of games. They can't cancel Skull and Bones because of some logistical where their game studio is based, either in Canada or New Zealand or somewhere. There's a law that you have to complete something or another. That's very simplistic, and I'm not getting into the details of it because I have to Google it, and I want us to all go home sometime tonight. But like, there's something that makes they have to produce Black Flag or Skull and Bones. They have to put it out. But there's been videos that've been talking about how like they're not. People are like, this is the preview that I got, and I'm kind of concerned. It's microtransactions and all these other things. It's like, well. But Skull and Bones is the answer to Black Flag. People have been asking for a pirate game for years and years and years.
Other than Sea of Thieves.
Which I haven't played. I've heard it's gotten a lot better. All right. Any other honorable mentions before we close out the program?
Well, I think we're good.
Yeah. I'm good.
We've hit our mark.
I'm good.
Special shout out to the N64 from my childhood because that was my introduction. That was where my gaming world came into play. PC, but we only played Command & Conquer, and N64 opened up that world. So Nintendo, I think, has played a big part in all of our lives in some piece or part. And I think, and it sounds kind of corny to have an emotional ending on this, like to be thankful for Nintendo. But but it's true. Like you think about the characters that you have played over and over again, the characters that you've come back to, the characters that you always think about and want to play more with. it comes back to Nintendo. It comes back to Mario.
It does.
Mario
Yeah.
Party, Super Smash Brothers, like
Yeah.
all of those games. Diddy Kong Racing. I guarantee you put Diddy Kong Racing in front of me, and I will have a stupid grin like a 12-year-old child back on my face again. Because I love them. I loved playing it. It was so much fun. I would play it over and over again. GoldenEye, 007, like some of those just incredible memories that I will never forget. I'll never forget being able to like wearing out my Nintendo 64 because I loved it so much, and it was just a special joy in my heart. So if you're wondering what game you should introduce your children to, or games you should introduce your children or your whoever to, recommend Nintendo, because PC games and everything else is kind of a joke right now. So hopefully it all gets better. And on that note, my name's Aaron.
My name's Chris.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Zoe.
And this has been the County Gamers. We'll see if we all come back again for next week. We'll see if we can pull everyone together again for another episode. We'll see
I'll
what we
be
have. Yeah, Phil's just like, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
They have snacks.
All the snacks.
I'm here. And he brought snacks too. All right. Well, hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your week, y'all. We'll see you in a week, or however long it takes to get. Oh my gosh. However long it takes to get us back together again. I should not learn to talk faster than my brain can work. Until next time, this has been the County Gamers. We'll see you on the next one. You've been listening to the County Gamers Podcast, presented by Create at Morgan Productions, located in Fort Morgan, Colorado, USA. For more information on our production house, other podcasts that are hosted here, and further details, please visit www.createatmorgan.org. You can find us on Twitter at the handle CreateAtMorgan. Create at Morgan is a school club at Lincoln High School, our alternative education campus here in Morgan County. Our sponsor is Aaron DeLay, the language arts teacher at Lincoln. Send any feedback to adelayedteacher@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to our podcast.